Good evening, it's the Romany Rye again, back again. I've got a couple of funny stories to tell you tonight, and a couple of serious ones. Anyway, carrying on. We're flying on now, and my Uncle Joey, he said it's about time that he packs up. He ain't going to do much more. Now, he was helping me in the beginning, get all this stuff in and do this, that and the other. So he comes to me one day, he said, "Do you want to go up to the horse sales, Mush?" I said, "What horse sales, Uncle Joe?" He said, "Up in Wales." I said, "Yeah, I don't mind." He said, "We'll go up and buy a nice couple of Welsh calves," or he said, "I'll buy myself a trotter." I said, "All right." So we gets up there, don't we? Me, Uncle Joey, and a chap called Barry Rowe. The first pub we goes into that night, because we booked into a guest house place, goes out that night. First pub we gets into, goes in through the door, and it was more or less dirt floors, muddy floors. Not mud, but soil floors. And they only serve their own beer. So we're in there now. We thought we're in there, we got to try it. And there was about, no exaggeration, 5 to 6 people in there, no more. But it was a nice atmosphere. There was a big old fire going. But they only sold their own beer. So we gets in there now, and we gets drunk. Gets back to the hotel, and when we drove in the hotel earlier in that day, we drove into like a courtyard. There was all grapevines hanging down the side of the hotel. Anyway, we stumbles in this hotel. The lady who was running it, she was there. So they had a bar there in the hotel place, or guest house what it was. So Barry Rowe decided to have a few more drinks, but me and Uncle Joey was wasted. So it was me and Uncle Joey in this room and Barry in another room. So he walked over to the window and lifted the window up. "Fuck me," he said, "Much look at these lovely grapes." He said, let Uncle Joey lower you down on a sheet," he said, "and get some grapes." Oh, I was lushy, wasn't I? I said, "All right, go on then." So, took the sheet off the bed, rolled it up, and he lowered me down this window. Now, I'm not the best man for heights anyway. So, lowered me down and I get these grapes. Now, me and he now is in the bedroom eating these grapes. Come back up. So, Barry Rowe thought he would play a trick on us. So our room was here, and his room was over there. And you come up the stairs. So he was shouting, "Joe, Clarence," lushed up, see. We said, "Go to sleep, Barry. Mush, come out and help me. Come out and help me." You never guess what he done. Anyway, we walked out, we couldn't see him. He was in behind his door. So while we was on the top of the stairs, looking down, he better come out the room and jumped on us. And the 3 of us ended up down on the bottom of the landing. Well. Outrun the woman. She said, "I'm sorry," she said, "but you'll have to leave tomorrow. I can't have you here another night." Said our sorries, my love, and all this, that, and ever. Anyway, goes to bed, goes to sleep. Gets up the next morning, goes down for breakfast. She said, you do realise that you'll have to leave, so you just will check out now and pay now. So pleaded with her that we wouldn't do it no more. And she said, I'll give you one more chance. So off we goes to the sales. So in Wales, in the sales, it's Section A's, Section B's, C's and D's. So I wasn't interested in the small ponies at all, although it was nice to look at some of them. So we walked in the sale. I bought a few coats and different stuff to take home for the missus and bits and pieces, put it back in the car. So the next day was going to be the good sale. We gets back to the hotel and same thing, he started again. So I said, Uncle Joe, I ain't carrying this no more much. This is no good. Now he said, fuck me, he said, we'll leave him by. So we went upstairs after a few pints and went to sleep, and he come up and done the same thing. There, Joe. Now fuck you, Barry, we ain't coming out. He stayed there for about 3/4 of an hour. Anyway, finally he went to bed. So next day got up, got back to the sale on the second day. Walked him round the sale, and fuck me, there he was. A black stallion, 4 white socks, and a white star. What a cob he was. I said, Uncle Joey, I'm buying he. Yeah, he said, he's some awesome. Beautiful. Shining black, just like Black Beauty. He was called Eastern Black Magic. That was his name. Come in the sale room, fucking stepping his dart out, he was. I said, I'm taking you home, Uncle Joe. All right, much, she said. See if you can buy him. Buys him. Goes back to the fucking, leaves the sale right away, goes back to the stall he was in. There he was, fucking beautiful horse. So Uncle Joey was in 2 minds what to get, see. So we had to stay another night to go to the standard bred sale. So we stayed on one more night. We just bought who we was there. Anyway, that night went alright as well, and the Ratley was right in the hotel afterwards. We said our sorries, like. Anyway, Uncle Joey buys this pacing mare, American Standard Bred. Right, Barry bought a couple of other things there to take home. Anyway, gets home now. I said, I ain't going to stay one with you. Don't worry, he said. We'll leave me here with my mare. He's all right. He had 2 stables there, see. Right. So, God bless him. He said, you'll have to buy the grub mush. I said, that's right, Uncle Joe. So, Uncle Joey's horse was ending up blooming, mine wasn't looking so good. I said, what's happening to the feed mush? Yeah, both having the feed. Anyway, in the end, I brought the horse home. He was a fucking cracker, though. And got him back to where he should be, and he was a beauty. Had he for a fair old time. So now, Uncle Joey wanted to earn a bit of hunger to pay for the horse he bought. So I said, there's a job down the dry docks, Uncle Joe. I said, all you got to do, no work much, because he didn't want to turn the work, see. He was getting on a bit. I said, no work much, all you got to do is drive the lorry. All right, he said. I said, it's down in the basin. I said, they've been on the phone. They got to have it cleared out right away. All right, sends him down now. I'll never forget this. Down he goes. Now, I said to him before he leave, Uncle Joe, don't go putting on, because it was all on pallets, don't go putting on the heavy stuff. I said, mush. Put on the lightest stuff and we'll go down with a big lorry. And he laughed, and fucking in the way he was. Hey, all right, mush. Anyway, goes down. By this time, they got all the stuff out of this shed. It was on the basin side, and the shed was full up. So they said the shed had to be cleaned out, so they put it all outside on pallets. So over come the forklift driver, loaded my lorry right to the gunnels. Right. Uncle Joe put his straps on and the ropes, tied it all down. He got back as far as Ale. Ministry and Gavers waved him in. Pull in. Looked at the lorry. Yeah, we're going to take you to the weighbridge. Took him to the fucking coal yard weighbridge. Goes in there. He's 3 tons, 750 kilos, overweight. Fuck, that's what it turned out to be. So he rings me up. He said, mush, whispering, see. I said, speak up, Uncle Joe, for fuck's sake, mush. He said, I can't. I said, what do you mean? He said, the Gavers got me, and the ministry. He said, I'm 3 tons, 750 kilos overweight. I said, for fuck's sake, Uncle Joe. He said, I'm panning myself, much. Don't shout. I said, what? I said, don't go worrying like that. I said, I'll be down. Anyway, they wouldn't let the lorry move out the fucking coal yard. Goes down there with another lorry, offloads that lorry, most of it on, put it on this other lorry. Right, that was all right. About a month later, 6 weeks later, we're both up in the court now. I think Uncle Joey got fined £475, and I got fined 600 quid. Now, I couldn't expect Uncle Joey to pay his fine, could I? So whilst I was there, we was offloading that stuff. We said, right, get on home. I was driving through Ale, and there was an auction board up, public auction. There was a company called J&F Pool. Now, I've been travelling that road for fucking years, and I never took no notice of this company, engineering company. So, looked around like that, and there was a factory up behind the houses. Fucking massive. But you wouldn't look at it to... Anyway, this factory made filters for all sorts of machinery. Dozers, lorries. But the filters back then was made out of like a stainless steel insert punched out with holes, and then paper and cardboard in them. So I rings up the auctioneers, because they were up country. Took the number down, ring them up. Told me the viewing days. And faxed me through a fucking catalogue. 4 rolls of this, 2 rolls of that. Stainless steel 316, stainless steel 188. Oh, fuck me. So, what happens? I goes down for the viewing day. While I'm there, Tommy Ware fucking pulls in. Now, I haven't spoke to he now for a long time. So I'm walking around with my catalogue. He got a catalogue. So he dicked over at me and half nodded, and I half nodded back. I didn't really want to speak to him, to tell you the truth. Too much water had gone under the bridge. So we was walking in the opposite directions, but ended up back at the cars, more or less face on. So he said, all right. I said, all right. Like that. No niceties. He said, depending on who comes, he said, we don't want to give the auctioneer the money on this job, do we? I said, what do you mean? He said, we'll buy it and knock it out. Now, I had to be careful, because in all fairness, financially he was a lot stronger than me. So I couldn't be too bloody minded about it. although I wanted to be. So we ends up there on a sale day, expecting to see loads of scrap dealers there. But fuck me, it was only me and he. Nobody could have took much notice of it. We thought the upcountry dealers would have been there and all. They weren't. So we ends up buying a whack of stuff. I mean a fucking whack of stuff. We had Arctics there, loading it afterwards. Anyway, we buys it. The last 40 or 50 lots was in the actual engineering works. So when we went into we seen it like before, like when we was in there, there was like a row of slidable curtains going down the middle of this building. And it said sale lots and not in sale and stuff like that. So the sale was finished and we was walking around looking at what we bought like. So I walked around it and we reckoned up what it was worth. I took a fair whack of money out of that job. Anyway, but before that, the curtains was, when we went back, the curtains was pulled back. And there was row after row of 45-gallon drums. Filled up with tiny puncheons. About the size, I'd say, of a matchstick head. Maybe a little bit bigger. Anyway. And each drum had a fucking ticket on it. 316 stainless, 700 kilos. 18.8 stainless, 600 kilos. Stainless iron, 700 kilos. Chromium iron, 200 kilos. All graded and all separated. So there was a bloke there called Brian Jose. That's how I found out he was called later on. And as it was, the plot thickens a little bit. I was there chatting to him, and I said to him, "What happens to these puncheons, mate?" He said, "Fraser Metals has them." I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "But they don't even touch them. We load them on the lorry, give them the weights, and they do the paper transaction, pay us, and that's it." So I said, "Can anybody else quote for them, man?" We said, "I don't see why not." He said, "But we just use Fraser's." So I seen out the corner of my eye, well, I walked off, Tommy Ware was there with his chavvy. And I seen him give him the handshake. Now, I'm not a Freemason, but I do know what the handshakes look like, and I do know what eye contact means. My father was a Freemason, I'm not. I thought he's rock or something to this scary. So I said, "What do you have to say?" "Oh, he just said that when the next consignment comes up, you give us a shout and give me a shout." I said, "Give you a shout." So I just left it at that. We were starting to get narky again, see? A few weeks went by. Fuck me. I seen his lorry coming back with these fucking drums on. He never said a word. So things haven't changed, really, have they? So I was on top of the edge, looking down over the yard, because my yard was higher than his, and I could see him pulled the lorry. Couldn't drop the skip off because the fucking drums fall over. So he had this drum lifter on the side, where it was a go down the side thing, hook a chain on the top, lift it off. So he had a tarpaulin on the floor. I thought, what the fuck has he got a tarpaulin on the floor for? He was tipping the drums out on the fucking floor. I said, oh yeah. What's on here to myself? I stood there watching him for about half hour. Tipped all these fucking drums out over the floor. Two chavvies were standing there with shovels. He jumped in his machine with a magnet, went over the top of these puncheons. And some of them flew right up to the magnet. He was out going through them, pushing them with a magnet, making sure there was no stealing. So I thought, fuck me, something's on here. So I watched the next time. He done it again. I thought, fuck me, he rung me up and said, here's a few quid at this job or nothing. So I tweaked. Something had to be going on with the fucking drums. So I worked it out, what he was doing. The bloke, Brian Jose, was putting about 6 inches of fucking steel, or chromium steel, that's what it was, some of the things, or stainless iron, what it was, on top of the fucking good stainless. Now one is about 60 pound a ton, and the other one's about 800 pound a ton. I thought, I've got to get hold of this Brian Jose. So I went to another member of the family and I said, Uncle, I said, is this man Brian Jose? I said, he lives in Ale. Is he on the square? Yeah, sure enough. He's on the fucking square. So down there I goes. He vaguely remembered me from the discussion in the sale. I said, I want a quote for this stuff. He said, I remember you, didn't I? I said, yeah. I said, I was here with Tommy Ware. I said, we bought all the scrap here. Well, he said, I don't know. He said, I said, look, I want a quote, all right? What do you mean, he said? I said, I know, all right? That's all I'm saying. I gets home. Phone's ringing his fucking head off. It's Tommy Ware. What the fuck you going down there sort of messing with that for? I said, because you never even fucking said to me, here's 500 quid at the job, did you? I said, and we bought that job together. Oh no. He said, I bought the job and paid you out. I said, no, that wasn't a fucking deal, Tom. I said, the deal was, we was going to do it together. I said, but you've cut me right out, see? Just as normal. I said, but you won't have it your own way. He said, what do you mean? I said, because I'm going to quote for it. I said, and if he fucks me about any different than what he does for you, I said, I'll blow the fucking whistle on the lot. Don't you do that, he said. I said, well, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. Anyway. Sure enough, a consignment come up. I'm watching it now. I goes down, put the magnet on the fucking bins, there it goes. Same thing. So I bought a couple of batches. You had to pay this Brian Jose out, mine. It wasn't for fuck all. It was big money. So I done the same thing. Put the tarpaulin on the floor. Jumped in my magnet over the top. And picked it up with the shovels, put it back in the thing. But there was a dirty trick played on me, see. When I took it into Graham Toghill's in Exeter, same as Tommy Ware, he said, Clarence, he said, I don't really want these puncheons, you know. I said, what do you mean, Graham? He said, well, it's going to cause me a bit of hassle, isn't it? He said, I've got to buy off you both, he said. I said, well, you feel that way, Graham? Don't fucking buy them. He said, I don't like to do it. I said, well, you're fucking doing it, aren't you? So I rang up Forrest in Yeovil. Yeah, agreed to take him up. Yeah, that was alright. But I could only have the odd fucking occasion. And obviously I was never going to fucking tell nothing anyway, but it all come to an end in the end. But there was a lot of money was made there. But he still cut me out, see? And that was the fucking gripe I had. So it was never no good. And to be fair to him, you see, the problem was he was a good businessman. A very fly chavvy. But he just wouldn't play ball. And he never ever told me what the problem was. So me, the way I am, it goes back as far as I'm concerned, because he had no good blood from my mother, and I was too much like her. I was too forthright to just say what I had to say, and they didn't like it. But that job didn't, in the end they closed the factory up. But I reckon Fraser's had it. Well, the other thing was, see, there was a lot of nickel coming out of there. And other precious metals. That was another good little screw. But he still never played the game, see. So anyway, Uncle Joey packed in really. And has another phone call. This time from the old man himself down at Almond Dry Docks. Clarenceware, please, I was speaking. This is Richard here. I think he was called Richard Graveson. Richard Graveson here. Almonds dried up. I said, all right, sir. Yeah, I said, I remember you. I met you a couple of times. Yes, he did. He said, you seem a decent fellow. He said, you deal with all the scrap here, he said. He said, I got something here of interest to you. Can you come and see me? When I gets down there, Barry Diamond comes out to me, the foreman. He said, Clarence, there's going to be fucking hell up here. I said, hey, what's up? He said, the old man wants us to take their portholes out. He said, and both the boys are on holiday. I said, what do you mean, the boys are on holiday? He said, yeah. He said, I'm in charge completely, and this old man here on his own. And he wants to sell off their fucking portholes. I said, well, how many portholes is there? He said, a fucking lorry load. He said, they've been saving them back for years. I said, what am I going to do then? He said, he rung me up. He said, you'll have to see him. And I goes, I said, good afternoon, sir. I said, good afternoon. Follow me. Now, over in the basin where I cleaned out, there was a section like down, it wasn't like a dungeon, but it was like a cellar type thing. Fuck me, the place was full of portholes. He said, I want to get rid of these. He said, but I want cash, hard cash. I said, that's no problem with the money, sir. He said, you'll come down and load them up and weigh it, he said, and then pay me. I said, that's fair enough. So I come back out. It almost went off. Barry Diamond said, I don't know what's going to happen, Clarence, he said, when they find out that you fucking had that stuff. He said, because they've never mentioned selling it. I said, all right. I goes down there. I takes my wife and my boy with me. Same lorry Uncle Joey had at the time. Loads this lorry. Now the fucking thing is overloaded with these portholes. Come back the road. The gathers went the other way. I said to Jed, I said, we're going to get fucking loud here. We're going to be pulled in. Occasionally, when I went around a bump, the back springs, the back fucking mudguards was down on the wheels. I said, I'm going to pull in round and Edith's. She said, well, we can't stay. I said, yeah, we're fucking staying there. I ain't doing it, I said. Pulled in. Told Aunt Edith to tell. She said, well, go up there, look. She said, turn left and pull the lorry in behind. That's what I done. Pulled the lorry right in there. Stayed in there. Left again next morning. It's only fucking 7 or 8 miles. But I could go around the back road, see? Anyway, come on. Offloaded these fucking portholes. They all had thick glass in them. But I was at Dinlow because they really was worth a fortune. I was just thinking about scrap, fucking crank. Anyway, Donald said, whatever you're going to do with these. I said, well, we've got to break the glass out, Don. He said, but there's still going to be glass in them because they was like clamped together. I said, yeah, you're right. He said, I'll melt the fucking screws around them with the lamp, he said. Prise the fucking clamp off, he said, and take the glass out. That's the best way to do that. I said, all right. Anyway, we started doing this job. We went on all the time because Donald was buying scrap and fucking about with scrap, so we couldn't do it all the time. So we done half of them. Barry Diamond's on the phone. Clarence. Yes, Barry. You've got to bring 8 portholes back. I said, what do you mean? Yeah, he said the boys have gone fucking berserk with old man here. He said, you're going to have to bring them back. I said, Barry, half of them. I said, it's fuck, mate. He said, I don't care. You have to bring them back. Anyway, I goes back with him. Out comes one of the sons, like a raving fucking loony. I said, now before you start, I'm working under the instructions of your father. He said, my father got no right to sell these. They've been there for years. He said, and we were going to sell them for, like, salvage, to get rid of them. He said, they weren't scrap. I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, they didn't know how many. I said, I'm sorry, but there's a few missing. He said, well, how many? I said, well, I don't know, 20 or 30. But it was like fucking 2 or 3 pallets. So, took them back, and that was that. So now I've got some home, haven't I? So weighed them up. So I got on to Barry Diamond. I said, Barry, I said, there's about, I said, just under 2 grand's worth. I said, how am I going to get the money to the old man? He said, well, you give it to me, and I'll make it right. And that's what happened. But it was lucky the boys didn't know how many was in there. But I had to take them back. Else I'd have lost a fucking job. So then, this is another little tale I'm going to tell you now. Jesse Richards and Shane Lee. Can we borrow your lorry, mush? Yeah. What are you going to do? We got 5 ton of cable. I said, what are you going to do with it? We're going to burn it out. I said, all right. Borrowed the lorry. On the fucking news the next night, there's all the fucking smoke going across the bypass. They blacked the fucking bypass out. There's mutinies up. They was burning this cable. So they got done. Gowers had them. They said never. So, but they burnt a fair bit before they got loud. So when they burnt it, they put it in piles. See, put a fucking rope around it and lifted it on with the IAB. See, so when Shane come, because he was a fucker. Shane Lee, if you knew him, he was a prankster. So I thought, I'll have you back today, you cunt. So they was having a bit of chit chat there with Donald, see. So I was grabbing these piles off with the grab and putting them down on the floor for they to roll onto the scales. So they were so intent on looking at Donald, looking at the scales and stuff. I grabbed one and put it on the roof of the shed without them seeing. This is true. So weighed it all up. They were sick as pigs. They didn't make what they thought they was going to make. So they was about to leave, see. I said, hey, come back here. Shane said, what, Mus? I said, come back here. I said, you know you're always fucking playing tricks on me, Shane, didn't you? Yeah, he said. I said, well, I played one on you, cop. He said, what's that? I said, what's on top of that shed? Fucking hell, he said. You could have done me. You could have done us. I said, I wouldn't do it to you, Shane. Pulled him down. I think they had like another 3 or 4 underweight, which made the difference. But that was the Shane Lee saga. Yeah, good old boy. Good old boy, Shane Lee. Well, I'm up to about 35 minutes. I think that's enough for the night. And we'll go on again tomorrow night. So it's now goodbye from the Romany Rye. And I'll catch you next time.